work at a staffing agency, and I was over my own branch. So one of the jobs I would do is I would take in new clients and I would fill whatever job positions they needed to be filled. So one day I answered the phone and we had a lady who wanted us to start to recruit from some positions for her company. So we're talking and she's giving me all the details about the kind of person that she needs for this position. And so all of a sudden she says, can you please make sure that you do not send me anybody over that is Black? When I was in corporate, I code switched sometime with my voice, right? Like I felt like I had to sound a certain way in order to be accepted. Hello, this is Alicia. How can I help you? So she probably thought that she was talking to somebody of another race. And this was like years ago. But when it happened, I remember like I was legit shocked. Like I froze for a second. I didn't even know what to say. So when she said, make sure that you don't send anybody Black, you know, and it had a long pause, she was like, are you there? And I was like, yeah, I'm here. And she said, if you want to, you can come by the office in the morning and we can talk about this some more. So you can imagine right now, I'm like, I got to see the look on this lady's face when I walk into her office and I'm Black. So I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say? How am I even going to approach this whole situation? Like a lot was going on in my mind. When I got to her office and I walked in, her mouth dropped open. So I walked in really cool. I was like, so I'm here to talk about the person that you wanted to fill this position. So long story short, she started crying, and that's a whole nother TikTok, but she started crying, talking about the things she went through as a child and her experiences with people of the Black race and all this yada yada stuff. I let her know that her way of thinking was very ignorant and I corrected some mindsets that she had. I contacted my boss and let her know what had happened, and I decided that we would not be taking her on as a new client. And it was really weird because after that, for like a month straight, she would send me like gifts and stuff to my office every week. But that goes back to my original video when I was talking about
Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ha, Rakakwadash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and the elders. Double honors to my elder as well, Harwan Mayasha Allah of the Lions Den camp. And salutations to the fellow Akim, Wafim and children that believe in truth and in sincerity. It's your brother Atanyala, back to you another lesson in Yahweh Tazah is edifying. And I just want to play that video prior to me speaking, all right, just to show you how they have a system, all right, ultimately a system called racism that's been set up to just deprive and persecute our people. Again, the perpetual hatred of Esau, Edom, and how it still exists to this day. You know, no matter how they portray themselves to be nice, nasty, they smile in your face, they look you in your face and lie. And ultimately, they think that what pertaining to Psalms 49 and 11, that their houses go continue forever and that they're going to be able to persecute you even in their new system, you know, with their algorithm, with AI, with artificial intelligence, with a device they want to implement in you to ultimately make you a complete slave, a cyborg or a robot, you know. So I wanted to start off in the book of Psalms, chapter 2 and verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Right. You know, they don't want you to be no part of this system outside of you being tributaries to it, you know, slaves, consumers, the bottom feeders of it, you know, the bottom feeders of their pyramid scheme, you know. So even in this Constitution, we're written 3/5 of a man, right? You know, you're completely exempt and castrated out of this society. So what is it gonna be for this new war, this new age, this new NWO, this new world order, this fourth industrial revolution, man? So if our people was to take part of it, which majority of our people are going to, you know, as it prophesied to be, as 2/3 of our people are gonna be left here for destruction, all right? But hey, they're gonna be bamboozled and fooled into believing they have some type of substance here. But again, according to Micah chapter 2 and verse 10, this is not your rest. Arise ye, and this is Micah 2 and 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, right? This place is polluted and it's filthy, and it's ultimately built off of rape, robbery, and murder, all right, of your people, of you, all right? It shall destroy you, even with the sore destruction, right? You know, and it's ultimately going to destroy our people that believe in it, you know, that believe in this society, that believe in its way. But back in Psalms chapter 2 and verse 4, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure, man, right? You know, and that's what they think ultimately, going back to the statement pertaining to Psalms 49 and 11. You know, they think that their inward thoughts is that their houses are going to continue forever, that this system that's in place is going to be revamped to some form of Super Saiyan type of system. Is going to be even more on a higher scale when it comes to the persecution of our people, to where they're going to really enslave you, all right? You know, tying the straw man to the buyer, all right? Tying the physical person to the corporation, all right? To the social security cards, the bank, the birth certificates, so on and so forth, you know, putting you in the algorithm, putting you in the internet of things, so to speak. From here, I want to go to the book of James. You know, hey, we was never a part of this society, so the hell with this place, man. You know, we have to ultimately work with patience, you know, and endure, so we can see the promise, man. The promise is the kingdom. You know, Yahweh Ratazah, we're found worthy. And this is the book of James, chapter 2. And I'll start at verse 1. My brethren, have not the faith of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach, the Lord of glory, with respect of persons, right? And this is ultimately talking, you know, pretty much kind of in the fold, all right, towards the brotherhood, but is even similar to when you go into, you know, I want to equate it to the brotherhood of Jacob and Esau, because they was once brothers, all right? But one brother is going to be cut off, man, because of the perpetual hatred, because of the perpetual hatred, man, the slaughter, the enviness. For if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring and goodly apparel, and there come in also a poor man in vile raiment, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool, are ye not then partial in yourselves, and are become judges of evil thoughts? Right, and that's why this world and this realm, all right, as the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, pertaining to Job 9 and 24, is evil. All right, it's evil judgment. Is not a just balance here. All right, as they have respect of persons. You know, they exalt the wicked in this society. You know, so Esau still he transgressed in that way, you know, towards his brother, to where, you know, you have poverty here in this society, in this kingdom. Why? Because the wicked beareth rule. As the scriptures say, when the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, man. Roughly paraphrasing. All right. Verse 5, hearken, my beloved brethren, have not Yahweh chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom, and heirs of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that love him? Right. You know, what is that? Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. You know, he know thy poverty and tribulations, but thou art rich. Why? Because we bear the promises. You know, the we being the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those of the speckled bird who may look like the other nations, but bear the same spirit according to their fathers. All right, according to the seed of their fathers. All right, we bear the promises of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is the kingdom. You know, the new covenant, which is what? The new bodies, the law in our inward parts being perfect. Verse 7, do not they blaspheme that worthy name by which ye are called? You know, so that's pretty much the point. You know, they despise the poor, you know, but uplift the wicked in this society. You know, again, that perpetual hatred. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and I'll start at verse 9. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed. And Teman represents the smarts of Esau. One of the tribes of Esau usually represents the smarts of Esau, like the German scientists, to the end that every right, because whether you German Caucasian, French Caucasian, British Caucasian, American Caucasian, you are Esau, Edom. All right, descendants of Esau, Edom. To the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Right? You know, you gonna be cut off forever. You know, so just you know, you're not a brother. All right, you never was a brother. You know, you was fighting since the womb. All right, even going back to the birth of Jacob and Esau. All right, prior to Genesis 25 and 25, and Rebekah entreated to the Lord. Why was she thus? Why was she going through that pain while she was while she had them in their womb? And the Lord entreated her, saying, 2 nations is in thy womb, and one shall be separated from the other. All right, roughly paraphrase. You know, but ultimately, they have to get what they have put on the nation of Israel. That persecution is ultimately getting ready to come upon them. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 137. And I start at verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Right? You know, the children of Edom, it says. You know, even going back to the tearing down of the temple. All right, they raise it, man. They was saying bring it down. All right, and even later set up by Nebuchadnezzar. All right, the Babylonians to burn it down. All right, you know, always having that perpetual hatred against Jacob, Judah. Verse 8, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Right, America. All right, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Right, when it turn upon you, when these curses ultimately fall upon you, which they're going to, and they're getting ready. They're doing so now. You know, according to what Deuteronomy 30 and 7. All these curses shall come upon our enemies. It's Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. And the Lord thy power, Yahweh, while Yahweh Shai will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuteth thee. Right? You know. So we go back into Psalms 137. And 8, O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed, happy shall ye be that reward of thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and that dasheth thy little ones against the stone. Right? You know that perpetual hatred, man. From then all the way up to now. All right. And that's why that's why now we're hoping. All right, and hastening the judgment of Edom, all right, that it returned back upon them, upon their head, which it is. All right, according to the scriptures, man. That's what the scriptures say. It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 1 and verse 20. Behold, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, for I am in distress, my bowels are troubled, my heart is turned within me, for I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword beraveth, at home there is as death. They have heard that I sigh, there is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble, they are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me, Khan. You know, and that's hey, this is Jeremiah, man, lamenting. All right, ultimately, you know, we going through this as a nation as a whole. All right, you know, mainly the you know, hey, the so-called black man. All right, the man of Israel, especially. All right, just, you know, staying on the topic of this video. All right, as we're the last one hired and the first one fired. All right, we're the 3/5 of a man that's in the Constitution. All right, the system and the war. All right, the physical and the spiritual war is set up against you. All right, because what, the kingdom lies within you. All right, so this is ultimately we represent Jeremiah is ultimately someone, all right, a prophet that we should look at, all right, of what, having patience, all right, as he's lamenting unto the Lord as he was going through the straits, all right, of what, the enemy being set up, him being in distress, you know, because why he's in distress? Because he rebelled. He's under the curses, all right, as we rebelled, and we're under the curses as a nation. You know, until we acknowledge our offense, that's when the Lord is going to lift the curses up off of us, man. And that's what he's doing as we have men sighing and crying. Verse 22, let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me for all my transgressions, for my sighs are many and my heart is faint. You know, right? You know, and that's ultimately what we plead, you know. Our heart is faint, you know. Our prayers is entering into the Lord of Sabaoth, man, meaning armies. This is the book of Job. Chapter 20 and verse 10. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods, right? You know, that's why the lady mentioning the lady was crying. She started sending gifts for a month straight. All right, because these the same people of old, man. They doing the same works, the same things. All right, they just now they play it smart. All right, it's a mental slavery. It's a spiritual form of oppression and slavery more than the physical form of oppression and slavery. Again, you had the physical yoke, and now you got the spiritual yoke. All right, according to Deuteronomy chapter 28, I believe that's what, 48, until he have destroyed thee. All right, once he destroyed thee physically and mentally and broke you down, all right, he took the physical yoke upon your off your neck because he knew you were mentally already destroyed. And this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee, right? You know, until he have destroyed thee. All right. Where was that? Job? We was at Job 20 and 10. All right. So his children shall seek to please the poor. Because why? They are their forefathers, you know, back in the reincarnation doing the same thing. All right, trying to right their wrongs, but their spirit still shows who they are, man. They spirit is still Esau Edom, man. Shows that perpetual hatred, don't want nothing to do with you, but they need you. All right, they won't have a pot to piss in without you. All right, they can't rejuvenate and go into their fourth industrial revolution without you being partakers of their NWO and circulating their currency. All right, that they want to set up, which is getting ready to be done away with all paper dollar and be digitalized, so they can implement their end all be all, Revelations 13:15 on down, the MOTB. You know, the catalyst of this thing. So yeah, they children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. His bones, verse 11, his bones are full of the sin of his youth. Right. You know, they are their forefathers, man. You know, coming back in the reincarnation, that's why their bones are full of the sin of their youth. You know, which shall lie down with him in the dust. And that's that confusion, you know, that Jeremiah was talking about in Lamentations. When you go back in Lamentations 1 and back 1 and 21, they have heard that I sighed, there is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Thou would bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. Right? They're glad, just like Psalms 2 we brought out. You know, they think that the Lord is in the heavens laughing, you know, because they cut our bands asunder. But the Lord is going to render a recompense. You know, they are going to be judged. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 21. What is that? And Obadiah says their pride have deceived them. And this is Isaiah 14 and 21. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Right. You know, because it ain't gonna be no discrimination against Jacob in the kingdom. All right. This is our kingdom. You know, if anything, it's gonna be discrimination against you until you, Obadiah 1 and 18. All right. Ultimately, hotly pursued and eradicated from off the earth. This is the book of James, chapter 5, and I'll start at verse 1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Right? Your garments are moth-eaten, man. You know, all you rich men, from the ambassador of the heathen and the rest of the heathen that take partakers pertaining to Psalms 83 and crafty counsel of cutting us off from being a nation. All right. Their riches are corrupted, and it's ultimately going to be an evidence against them. This is verse 3. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped up treasure together for the last days. Right. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have heaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have heaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, man. Right. And that's the point. You know, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, man, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. You know, and you keep it back by fraud. You know, we have no partakers into this society, you know, of your so-called American dream. Why? Because it's all been set up for us not to. And you've been set up to have a judgment. And we've been set up to ultimately have the kingdom, man, as long as we endure and work with patience. All right. And give our testimony. If you're men and you have testicles, all right, you be testifying. All right. Give our testimony and prophesy against Mount Seir. You know, because what? we're being defrauded here. And anybody who don't feel like they're being defrauded here is bamboozled and confused. You're a madman, as in foolish, and you're being set up to be destroyed. Because why? We've been here to be subject to payments. All right, there's no prosperity here for the righteous. So we want a new heaven and a new earth. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. Right, until we acknowledge our offense, we've been put here to serve a sentence, man, to be persecuted, to want the Lord and seek him 10 times more. All right, and want to be and get the hell up out of here. Scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, been subject to payments, but according to 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and I believe verse 54, this earth was made for our sakes, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But we don't benefit from it. This is the book of Haggai, chapter 1 and verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And ye have that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes, right? The hole get bigger and bigger, especially now, being that we're in the brink of hyperinflation. All right, the systems connecting, and they're even more gonna exit you out of their systems and their algorithms. They're setting up their algorithms ultimately to do the racism for them, to exempt you, to cancel you out. That's why they study you. That's why they have surveillance through domestic terrorism and things like that, where things are being live, things are live. These algorithms are live to where mostly everything is being recorded, man, in real time. So they know what you like and don't like, so on and so forth. You can try to Google something in your phone and it'll spell it out for you without you even, fully typing it in. Things of that nature. So it's just, the bag is just go get more and more big because they know how to make it bigger for you to where is no winning. You're in their system. You're playing their game. They're creating the rules along the way to deprive you. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 66. So, if you're not moving with the Lord, all right, with the Spirit of the Lord, all right, you're in a lose-lose. This is Deuteronomy chapter 22 and 28 and verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. Right, we're under the curses, man. Our life go hang in doubt. And what it say? Money is a defense. So they're gonna, without that money, all right, without that currency, all right, you're gonna lack a defense here, all right. But you gotta have a spiritual defense, a spiritual hedge around you, all right. And only way you have that is dealing with the knowledge and wisdom of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, all right. The real money, Sophia. This is Ecclesiastes. Seven and 12. For wisdom is a defense and money is a defense, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it, right? Because with knowledge, you can be able to apply wisdom, which giveth you life. But without that, you're part of the congregation of the dead, which is going to lead you to death, physical death. Because what the wages of sin is death, and sin is transgression of the law. All right, and you'll continue to transgress without knowing of the law, without knowing of the Lord. But just going back to the book of James, chapter 5 and verse 5, you have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. All right, going back to these rich men, you have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the just, and he do not resist you, right? Hey, that's innocent blood that's shed. Even though Jake turned demon and turned evil eye towards his brother. All right, that resorts back to the curses. That eye being tender and delicate that's among you. All right, it's roughly paraphrasing. All right, that eyes go be tender and delicate, man. Against our brother. All right, meaning Jake go have an evil eye towards their brother. So where you have Jake who persecute their brother. All right, you have so-called black on black crime here in America that runs rapid. Because Jake has no knowledge of patience. So our people destroy themselves without the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children, right? And that's why Jake forget the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And that's why their children die at an early age. The scriptures say, what? Train ye up the child the way ye shall go. Because what poverty brings, affliction, like oppression, all right, and pressure, all right, and a pressure busts pipes, to where if you don't have a spiritual mindset or a spiritual hedge around you, all right, you'll blow a fuse. You'll be subjected to these demons, and you might commit a vile act, and then Esau, all right, the devil, he got you. All right, the deceiver got you. You've been caught up into one of his traps. So our people, they're destroyed for lack of knowledge, because they don't want to know the Lord. Either they don't want to know the Lord, or they just don't know the Lord. All right, the Lord don't want to know them. All right, so since they forgot Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, all right, and the Lord, all right, the Lord is forgetting them. All right, and that's why you'll have Jake being subject to just straight catastrophe, man. These traps that Esau sets up, all right, the devil set up, to where we have black on black crime. Jake, I being evil, all right, towards his brother. And this is James 5 and 1. And it's all, it all can stem from just poverty. All right, you being castrated out of society. Again, you being without a defense, without money. All right. So, instead of focusing on Esau's physical money, we got to focus on Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's money, which is what? The wisdom and knowledge. All right. So back in James chapter 5 and verse 6, you have condemned and killed the just, and he do not resist you. Be patient, therefore, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and have long patience for it, right? Until he receiveth the early and latter rain. Right? He's not going to stir no move till the said measures be fulfilled. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door, right? Grudge not one against another. It's like the Lord know, he know Jake mind. He know how Jake go get. in these trial and just in these conditions that he put us in. But he laid it all out for us. It's right here. You can see it. All right. It says, grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Right. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. Take my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Right. Like Jeremiah, or a David, lament to the Lord. Pray and give up your plea to the Lord. Report it to the Lord. And pray that it have entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, which it is. All right, being that we coming in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, we coming in his name. All right, and we trust and believe. All right, and we have faith. All right, and that is ultimately is coming to an end. All right, the judgment is set already, and it's ultimately coming to pass. You can see it. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful, and of tender mercy. But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay, lest ye fall into condemnation. All right, and that's just ultimately, I just end off on that. All right. This place done. Just being the point, just to sum everything all up. That's why we do these lessons and videos, because it just ultimately give us that reassurance. And I end off with this. This is Ezekiel 35:1. Moreover, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and will make thee most desolate, and will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right. So all they fake crying and acting as if they be for you, because they all caught up into their racism and their perpetual hatred towards Jacob. Just keep that same energy, man. When it comes to your judgment, be the niggard Edomite that you are, and take this judgment, man. Because it is coming upon your own head. But Shalom, Mahabatha, and DTA to the next one.